Hey everybody, this is your old pal Kev. I'm going to be doing a Kev off the cuff again today because I just finished watching a movie which I just want to talk about it. I'm not just going to be doing video games. I've decided to like stretch my credentials a little bit. Maybe I'll do some like movies or 8 tracks or books. Maybe books. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this movie that I just watched last night called Nosferatu. And excuse me if I'm a little bit quiet. It's like 5:30 in the morning, and I don't want to be screaming out of my window because I might annoy somebody. And I got the idea to do this now. So just shut up, okay? All right. So Nosferatu is this movie. It's like the seminal vampire movie. It's like the first real scary vampire movie that was ever made, and it's a silent film, and so that means that there's like music that goes along with it. Now, see, the version that I saw, I have no idea. I gotta find out. But the version that I saw had some really interesting music and little sound effects that it added to it so that it kind of seemed like you were actually like it was actually a sound film, but it wasn't, because they had the interstitial things, which I thought they held up way too long. It's like, how dumb are these people that it takes them this long to read a paragraph. I'm like sitting there going, okay, let's move it along here. So I think like half the movie was taken up with too long interstitials. But anyway, so the movie is basically, I guess it's a retelling of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which all of them are. I mean, that really the vampire didn't really exist until Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, not in modern form anyway. But this movie is about this guy named Hutter, which Hutter. I don't like his name much. And with the way they were doing the fonts on the thing, like I couldn't tell if his name was Hutter or Butter or Clutter. Like it it's Hutter though, and he's a real estate agent, which is really that's what your heroes in your movies are going to be. And his boss tells him that there's this guy Count Orlock who's going to be wants to buy a house in the little town that he lives in, and the guy tell you this little town is depressing as all fuck. I don't know why Orlock wants to move there, but anyway. So he says, okay, so you're gonna have to like get on a horse and ride to Transylvania, the land of thieves and ghosts. Which is that? I mean, is that real? That's not really fair to Transylvania. I mean, I'm sure there are like some nice people in Transylvania, not just thieves and ghosts. I mean, it was like okay, but anyway. So he goes and he tells his wife, Ellen, and she's less than sanguine about this whole thing because why would she be? She doesn't. She's very delicate. There's a point at the beginning where he like gives her some flowers, and she's like, "Why did you have to kill the poor flowers?" I mean, it's this guy's wife and everything. I mean, I hope he's happy, but God, I don't know if I could deal with that kind of person too long. But anyway, so he says I gotta go, and she's like, "Don't go," and he's like, "I gotta go," and so he goes. That's basically how it boils down. I mean, there's more. It's very one of the things about these. I think it's probably about most silent movies, but definitely about this one, is that there's a lot of melodrama in it, like like grasping of the breast and like and that sort of thing. So you kind of have to like let that go if you're gonna enjoy the movie, because I mean you just gotta like be like, okay, come on, lady, seriously. You're gonna be fine. You don't have to like collapse on the bed every time you hear a noise outside. But so he goes and he rides his horse, and they have these nice little sound effects, and then he goes, and eventually after some time there's this whole thing where he goes to an inn and they're like, you shouldn't go to Orlock's castle at night because the werewolf is out there. And they have this like long scene where there's like this, I don't know, it's like a dingo or something that's scaring all the horses, and it's like is that a werewolf, or is that? I mean, it looks like a Tasmanian devil. I don't know if you've actually seen like a real Tasmanian devil. That's what it made me think of. Um, but yeah, so then it scares all the horses, and the next day the horses come back. That's a lot of these movies. I mean, they haven't quite figured out how to do tension yet. It's like, okay, this big thing happened, and then we fix it. Oh, oh. It's more like that. It's not like rising action like they do nowadays. So he eventually makes it to Count Orlock's castle, and Count Orlock is this big ugly dude with like a nose like, oh my god, the guy's got a nose like a refrigerator. It's like this. I don't know if it's fake or what, but man, if it's not fake, whew, I don't know. You know what they say about guys with big noses? They use a lot of Kleenex. Um, but anyway, so he's there, and then he says, "Oh, this looks nice." And then he drops a picture of his wife, and the guy's like, "Ooh, your wife's got a nice neck," which is like a weird thing to say. And so the guy's like, "Okay, that's fine." He's like, "I think I'm gonna," and the guy's like, "I think I'm gonna buy this place. Come hang out with me for the rest of the night, because I sleep during the day." And the guy's like, "Okay, that sounds good." And then he hangs out with him, and he falls asleep, and he wakes up, and he's got two mosquito bites on his neck like that. Doesn't make the connection. Obviously, we would make the connection, but we would make the connection because movies like this exist, right? So it doesn't. So I mean, you can't be too mad at him. So he writes to his wife and says, "Hey, things are great here. The mosquitoes are terrible. I got two mosquito bites on my neck, one on top of the other. It's just really weird. I don't even know what to do about it." And so this Orlock guy, and then there's this long. I'm gonna really condense this because there's so much thing. Oh, and there's this boss, Knock, who is, he's like the best thing in the movie, because he like he's the one who sends him off to go bring the guy back and get the house for him. And he says, "Well, we'll use the house right across from yours. It'll be fine." And I'll tell you what, the houses are the scariest goddamn thing in this movie, man. It's not even cool. Like, the houses are just like, I don't know. Oh, excuse me. The houses are just like, I don't know. They look like old tenements of like and destroy. It doesn't matter, but they're just sort of scary looking. If you watch it, it's just kind of scary. And so, but then while he's gone, this guy not goes crazy because I guess the Dracula, not Dracula, sorry, Orlock is making him have dreams or something, and so he goes nuts, and he just keeps trying to like beat up the people in the insane asylum, and he's just like this little guy. He looks like Toad from X-Men. He's just like jumping around and being nutty, and so he's cool. I like him, and so anyway, so this guy Hutter, he decides bad shit's happening because he looks out and he sees them. He sees that all that this guy Orlock is packing to go to his town is like 5 coffins full of dirt. So he's like, "Oh shit, this is terrible." But he's locked in his room. So he ties a bunch of sheets together. He climbs down, but the sheets aren't long enough, and he falls. And then he has to go to the hospital. So he's out of it for a while. But then the Orlock goes on this ship, and they're taking him down to. They're taking him by ship to the place, and it all kind of works out. Except everybody on the ship eventually dies because Orlock, I guess, like kills him or makes him go crazy or whatever. And it's like there's one scene where it's actually really kind of freaky. The first mate goes downstairs with an axe, and he's like, "I'm just gonna fucking finish this. This is ridiculous." He goes down, and then Orlock kind of comes up like this. And then the guy's like, "Holy crap!" And he like runs, and he jumps off the boat, which I don't understand. I mean, you'd have to be pretty scared to just jump to your death. And the captain's just like, "Oh, facepalm," and then the captain gets attacked by Orlock, and so eventually there's a whole long scene where that happens, and then eventually they get to the city, the new town, and uh, Orlock gets off ship and he starts, and me and meanwhile Hutter is like, he's driving back on a horse and he just rides as fast as he can to get home, and he gets there just around the same time as Orlock, and Orlock gets off the boat, and it's so funny. There's this whole scene where he's carrying this big ass coffin. He's just like, do 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 do, where's my house? And he's just got this huge coffin under his arm, and it's not even bothering him. Um, and so then Hutter gets back, and his wife's glad to see him, but his wife reads this thing in this book that he has about vampires, which he just happened to get. Vampires, it says the only way to kill a vampire is for a woman to allow him to feed on her until the cock crows and makes him ignore the cock crowing, and then whatever. So I think you kind of know where this goes. So this guy Knock escapes from the insane asylum, and then the whole town goes crazy because they think there's a plague. I don't know where the plague comes from, but I think what's happening is that Orlock is like biting people, and it's making them think that it's a plague where you get these marks on your neck. So Knock escapes, and they have this big thing where they're running around, and you think they're going to catch him, and it turns out to be a scarecrow, and it's actually kind of funny. Like, it's not. All things considered, this is a pretty good movie. Like, as far as like being put together, like I don't know what year it was, but like it really is just a movie. I mean, that's it. You know, it's not like a bunch of weird vignettes that are put together. So after that, Orlock finally finds his house, and he walks up to the door, and then like fades into the door. It's kind of stupid, and then we kind of wait, and then the girl wakes up in the middle of the night, and she says, "Oh, I got to do this," and she says all this stuff and breastfeeding and Knock is eventually captured and put back in prison, and then there's a scene where the famous scene where Orlock is going up the stairs and all you see is his shadow. It's really kind of well done. It is very creepy. Not scary. It's not scary. I mean, you're not going to get scared during this, but it is pretty creepy. Like, you wouldn't want to see that coming into your room at night. And then what happens next? Oh, then he takes her and he starts feeding on her, right? And that's like the scariest scene in the whole movie, where you just kind of see his head down on her neck, and he's not moving, and it just holds it there. But then suddenly the cock crows, and he goes, "Oh crap!" And he stands up, and he's like, "Oh no!" And he disappears. says, "The master is dead," and it's over. And that's in the movie. So, spoiler alert: vampire dies at the end. So, what do I think of this movie? I thought it was pretty kind of amazing considering everything. You know, when you see these, when you think of these like old timey movies, you think of like the images aren't going to be very good. It's all going to have that black around the vignetting around it that just looks like crap and all this stuff. But really, there were a lot of shots, like even the very first shot, that are just sharp and clear and amazing. And some of the things they did with like they I guess shot it on different filters or put filters through the film, or just I don't know, maybe they did it later, but like so when it's sunset, it's red. When it's nighttime, it's blue. When it's morning, it's yellow. And it was like really, really just gave you a sense of time. You always knew what time it was. That'd be kind of cool if they did that in movies nowadays. So like if it's like somebody walking around, you would just see like there would be like a special color, and it's like this is 3:15 in the afternoon, and then that would be cool. Then you would know what time it was all the time. But then it would be shifting every minute, so that would be kind of annoying. Okay, but never mind. There were a few effects. See, they tried to do some effects that were like stop motion, like for like opening of like door, and it was like really choppy. And there was this one scene where Hutter gets picked up by this, I guess, this special vampire coach to go to the castle. And it's like they run it in fast motion, so the thing's going, and then what made it worse was they played this music, which was like this. It was like the Looney Tunes music, and it was just making the whole thing just ridiculous, and it just looked so dumb. But it was okay. I mean, I understand what they were trying to do. Like, this thing was really fast, but it just looked like it was in fast motion. It didn't look like it was fast. The story was okay. I mean, it's just basically like, I mean, they really spent a lot of time on the visuals with this, and the story wasn't so important, I don't think. But the story was good, and I especially liked, you know, some of the, I don't know, I liked Orlock because he was just that creepy, but he never really does anything on camera, so it's like you don't really know what's actually going on. And the main guy was an okay hero. He kind of flounced around a little too much for my taste, but and then I don't know. And then my favorite character was Knock, because he was just this crazy little Eggman who just kept leaping around and doing all these crazy things and sitting on roofs and stuff and just I'm gonna escape. Oh, and the wife Ellen, she was surprisingly like. When I first saw her, I was like, ugh, and then she like actually looked at the camera. I was like, oh, she's very pretty. She's like, but the problem is like the way the cameras work. So when she smiles, her teeth are all black, and it's like, you're just kind of thrown off. But it's not really because they're black. It's because of the way the cameras work, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Anything else I wanted to say? I thought the sound effects were good. I thought the score was okay. I thought it was a little overwhelming a couple of times, but that was all right. And I don't know. This is the first time I've watched a silent movie probably since film school. Maybe I'll try doing this again sometime. I kind of dug it. I still need to watch The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, but I would give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars, only because the story was a little weak, and for modern audiences it might be shot a little slow paced. But other than that, I thought it was really excellent, and you should check out Nosferatu if you're like into horror at all. Like, dude, you totally need to check it out because it's like one of the first horror movies. So that's it. All right, thanks for listening. I'll see you in the funny papers.